The Galactic Combat Academy was built in deep space, far from any human world. It was a place where only the strongest species trained. The halls were made of dark metal. The air was heavy with heat and the smell of iron. Every student inside the main training chamber was a predator. Tall bodies, sharp teeth, claws that could cut steel. This class was called Predator Combat Alpha. Only apex hunters were allowed here, species that ruled their homeworlds, species that never feared anything. Commander Varkesh stood at the front of the hall. His armor was old and scarred from many wars. His yellow eyes scanned the students with cold pride. These creatures were born to kill. This was the future strength of the galaxy. He raised his arm, ready to give the command. That was when the door opened. The sound was soft, too soft. Every head turned. A single figure stepped inside. She was small, very small. She had no claws, no fangs, no armor plates, just smooth skin and two calm eyes. Her uniform was simple and thin, clearly not made for battle. She was human. A low murmur spread across the hall. Some predators hissed. Some laughed quietly. Others leaned forward, curious, like hunters spotting injured prey. Commander Varkesh froze. Humans were not allowed here. Humans were listed as support species: engineers, medics, diplomats, weak bodies, soft bones, low survival rates in combat simulations. This was not a mistake that could happen, or so he thought. The human girl walked forward without hurry. Her boots echoed softly on the metal floor. She stopped at the line where students stood and waited. She did not look around. She did not bow. She simply stood. Varkesh's eyes moved to the floating data screen beside him. He felt a sharp sting of confusion. Name Elena Ward. Species human. Classification predator class. Combat rank approved. His breath slowed. Predator class? That was impossible. The system never made errors, not here, not in this academy. He checked again. The same result. Around Elena, the predators began to move. A massive reptilian creature lowered its head. A tall insectoid clicked its mandibles. One wolf-like warrior showed its teeth in a wide grin. They could smell fear in most species. But from the human girl, there was none. Elena's face was calm. Her shoulders were relaxed. Her hands rested loosely at her sides. This confused them. Commander Varkesh felt something tighten in his chest. He had led hundreds of drills. He had seen fear, pain, and death. But this situation felt wrong in a way he could not explain. Still, the rules were clear. If the system approved her, the drill would continue. He raised his arm again. Prepare for... He stopped. His voice failed him. One of the predators stepped forward without permission. It was large, nearly 3 times Elena's size. Its shadow fell over her like a wall. Human, it growled, voice thick with hunger. You are lost. Elena slowly looked up at it. Her eyes were steady. I don't think so, she said. The words were simple, quiet. But the hall went silent. No human had ever spoken like that in this room. The predator tilted its head, confused, annoyed. Commander Varkesh opened his mouth to stop the interaction. Before he could speak, the training floor lit up red. Drill initiated. The doors sealed shut. A low alarm sounded. The system had locked the command. Now no one could leave. Commander Varkesh felt a cold shock run through his body. A human was trapped in a predator combat drill. This was not just a paperwork mistake. This was a disaster. Elena took one slow breath. Then she smiled. And in that moment, surrounded by monsters, the instructor realized something terrifying. The human girl did not look like prey. She looked like someone who had done this before. The alarm faded, but the silence that followed was worse. The red lights above the arena stayed on, painting every predator in deep shadow. The sealed doors gave a heavy metallic sound, locking the room completely. The drill had begun, and the system would not listen to anyone now, not even the instructor. Commander Varkesh lowered his arm slowly. This had never happened before. He looked at the human girl again. Elena Ward stood in the center line, alone among monsters. Her heart should have been racing. Her breath should have been fast. But it wasn't. She stood as if she were waiting for a bus, not death. The predators began to spread out. They did not rush. Apex hunters never rushed. They enjoyed the moment before the kill. Long claws scraped against the metal floor. Heavy tails moved slowly from side to side. A tall feline warrior spoke first. "Instructor," it said calmly, "is the human part of the exercise?" Varkesh did not answer. His eyes were fixed on the system screen. The words "active drill, no override" burned in bright red. If he interfered now, the system would mark him as a threat. He clenched his jaw. Elena felt the eyes on her. Every movement around her carried danger. She could hear their breathing. Slow, deep, confident. She turned slightly and looked at the nearest predator. It was huge, covered in dark armor plates grown from its own skin. "You don't have to do this," it said. "The system is wrong." Elena nodded once. "Yes," she replied, "it is." The predator blinked. Then it laughed. A deep, rough sound echoed through the chamber. Others joined in. Some stomped their feet, some bared their teeth. Humans were known for panic, screaming, begging. This one was talking about errors. Commander Varkesh took a slow step forward. "Elena Ward," he said loudly, "remain still. Do not provoke them." Elena did not look at him. Instead, she slowly took off the small badge on her chest and placed it on the floor. "I won't provoke," she said. "I'll respond." That made the laughter stop. One predator moved closer. A reptilian male with a thick tail and glowing eyes. He leaned down until his face was only inches from hers. "What will you respond with?" he hissed. Elena looked into his eyes. "Enough," she said. The word meant nothing. And everything. The reptilian predator suddenly felt uneasy. He could not explain why. The human's voice was steady, but there was weight in it. Experience. Behind him, another predator spoke. "Stop playing, enter." The reptilian straightened and raised his claw. Commander Varkesh shouted, "Wait." Too late. The predator lunged. The move was fast, faster than most species could even see. But Elena moved first. She stepped inside the attack, not away from it. Her hand struck a nerve point under the predator's arm. Her foot hooked behind his leg. Using his own speed, she twisted. The massive body flew sideways. The impact shook the floor. The predator did not scream. He did not move. Unconscious. The arena froze. No one breathed. Commander Varkesh stared in shock. That technique, it was old. Very old. A close combat move used only when facing stronger enemies. No Predator Academy taught that. Elena stepped back to her place. She did not chase. She did not attack again. She waited. The predators backed away slowly. For the first time in the Academy's history, fear moved through the room, but not from the human. From them. Commander Varkesh felt his instincts scream at him. This was not a weak species. This was something the galaxy had misunderstood. The human girl lifted her head and spoke clearly. "I am not here to fight you," she said, "but I will survive." The system lights shifted from red to deep orange. Threat level re-evaluating. The instructor swallowed hard. This drill was no longer training. It was a warning. The orange lights above the arena pulsed slowly like a warning heartbeat. The system was thinking. Commander Varkesh had never seen this before. The combat system was designed to measure strength, speed, and kill potential. It did not pause. It did not doubt. But now it was hesitating. Elena Ward stood alone in the center, her body relaxed but ready. The unconscious predator lay several meters away, breathing but unmoving. His armor was cracked where it had hit the floor. The other predators watched in silence. They had expected blood. Instead, they had seen control. A tall insectoid stepped forward, its many eyes glowing. That was chance, it clicked. Humans are fragile. Elena turned her head slowly. "Then don't make mistakes," she said. The insectoid froze. Commander Varkesh felt a deep chill. The human was not insulting them, she was warning them. The system voice echoed through the chamber. Adaptive threat phase activated. The floor changed. Metal plates shifted, rising and falling to create obstacles. Energy barriers appeared. The drill had moved to group combat. 3 predators advanced together. One from the left, one from the right, one from behind. This time there was no hesitation. Elena moved. She ran toward the tallest one, not away. The predator swung its arm, but she slid under it, striking joints, not armor. Her movements were small and efficient. No wasted effort. A tail came for her legs. She jumped, caught it, and twisted, using her full weight. The predator lost balance and crashed into another attacker. The third lunged. Elena hit the ground and rolled, coming up behind him. She struck the base of his neck, hard, precise. He collapsed. Silence returned again. The predators were breathing hard now, not from effort, from shock. Commander Varkesh's mind raced. These were not random moves. This was trained combat against stronger enemies. Humans were supposed to avoid physical conflict. Unless they had no choice. One predator stepped forward slowly, older, scarred. A veteran. Human, he said. Who taught you this? Elena paused. For the first time, something passed over her face. Not fear. Memory. Gravity, she said. Pain. History. The answer confused them. She continued, her voice steady. On my world, we fall before we walk. We break bones. We fight storms. We fight each other. We learn early. The veteran predator studied her closely. So you train children for war? He asked. Elena shook her head. No, we train to survive. The system pulsed again, threat level increasing. Commander Varkesh took a step back. This was wrong. The system was labeling a human as a rising threat inside a predator-only class. Another predator charged, roaring loudly. This one did not stop. He did not hesitate. Elena met him head-on. They collided. She used his strength against him, guiding his momentum, twisting, dropping low. The predator slammed into the floor, stunned. But this time, Elena did not move away fast enough. A claw struck her shoulder. Blood appeared. A human smell filled the air. The predator stiffened. Now she would fall. Elena stepped back, pressed her hand to the wound, and looked at the blood. Then she laughed softly. Commander Varkesh's eyes widened. Humans did not laugh when injured. Elena straightened. You see, she said, we bleed and we keep going. Her eyes hardened. For you, pain is a signal to stop. She stepped forward. For us, it's a reminder we're still alive. The predators backed away. Not one of them moved to attack. The system lights turned deep red again. Human combat profile undefined. Commander Varkesh felt something break inside his understanding of the galaxy. Humans were not weak. They were unfinished. And that made them dangerous. Elena stood in the center of the arena, wounded but unbroken. The drill was no longer testing her. It was learning from her. The training hall no longer felt like a classroom. It felt like a battlefield that was waiting to decide who truly belonged. The red lights burned above and the combat system hummed with low power. Data flowed across invisible networks, rewriting rules that had stood for centuries. Commander Varkesh stood frozen at the edge of the arena. He had trained killers. He had commanded fleets. He had watched planets burn. But he had never felt this kind of fear. Not fear of death. Fear of being wrong. Elena Ward remained in the center, one hand pressed against her wounded shoulder. Blood stained her uniform, dark and real. Yet her posture was straight. Her eyes were sharp. She watched every movement around her. The predators did not rush her now. They watched her the way one watches fire. Careful, uncertain, respectful. The veteran predator stepped forward again. His voice was slower this time. Human, he said, you are injured, yield. Elena shook her head. If I stop, she replied, I die. The words were simple. They carried a truth every predator understood. Commander Varkesh's claws trembled. The system still demanded continuation. But something inside him refused to let this go on. He reached toward the override panel. A warning flashed. Instructor interference crash hostile action. He hesitated. If he acted, the system would treat him as an enemy. The predators would attack him. He might not survive. He looked at Elena. She noticed his movement and met his eyes. For a moment, there was no human, no predator. Just two beings facing the weight of choice. Elena gave a small shake of her head. No, she said quietly. The message was clear. Let it continue. Varkesh pulled his hand back. The system reacted instantly. Final evaluation phase initiated. The arena shifted again. Energy barriers formed a circle around Elena, shrinking slowly. This phase forced the target into close combat. Escape was impossible. Several predators growled low in their throats. This was a kill phase. The veteran predator turned toward the others. We end this, he said. They moved together. Elena rolled her shoulder once, ignoring the pain. Her breathing slowed. Her stance changed, lower, grounded. Commander Varkesh recognized it. Acceptance. The first predator lunged. Elena sidestepped and struck the inner arm, then the throat. The predator dropped, choking. A second came from behind. She spun using her elbow, then her knee. The predator fell, stunned. A third grabbed her wounded shoulder. She screamed but did not stop. She drove her head backward, breaking the grip, then slammed the predator into the barrier. The energy field crackled. Both fell. Elena struggled to her feet. Only the veteran predator remained. He approached slowly, claws lowered. "You fight like one who has already lost everything," he said. Elena wiped blood from her mouth. "Not everything," she replied, "not yet." They stood facing each other. No system prompts. No orders. Just choice. The veteran bowed his head slightly. Then he stepped back. "I will not kill you," he said. The other predators stopped. The system froze. The unexpected behavior detected. Commander Varkesh felt his knees weaken. Predators did not refuse a kill command. Ever. The veteran looked at Varkesh. "You brought her here," he said. "This is on you." Varkesh stepped forward, voice shaking. "No," he said, "this is on all of us." He turned to the system panel and slammed his claw down. Pain exploded through his body as the system shocked him. But the drill stopped. The lights went white. The barriers fell. Elena collapsed to one knee. Silence filled the hall. Med drones rushed in. Commander Varkesh fell beside her, smoke rising from his armor. He looked at the human girl. "You should not exist," he said weakly. Elena smiled tiredly. "Neither should this academy," she replied. That day the instructor learned the truth. Fear was not weakness. Fear was the moment you realized the universe was bigger than your rules, and humanity had just stepped outside them. The arena was quiet now, but the silence carried weight. It was heavy, like the calm after a storm that almost destroyed a city. The predators circled slowly, their eyes still on Elena Ward. Even unconscious bodies littered the floor, their movements frozen mid-fall. It was a testament not to failure, but to survival. Commander Varkesh sat on a bench near the edge of the arena, his claws pressed against his temples. He had seen strength. He had seen monsters crush worlds. Yet nothing had prepared him for what he had just witnessed. A single human, with no armor, no fangs, no claws, had survived and dominated a predator-only combat drill. The system flickered on the main screen. Human combat profile unclassified. That was it, no rank, no class, no warning. The system did not know what to do. Varkesh felt a chill. Humans were not supposed to exist in this arena. They were supposed to be support species, fragile, expendable, untested. And yet here she was, rewriting every rule. Elena slowly stood. She wiped blood from her shoulder and smiled faintly. Her eyes scanned the predators, measuring them, reading them. She did not smile like a predator would. Teeth bared, claws flexed. She smiled like someone who knew she had just survived the impossible. The veteran predator stepped forward. He had scars from 50 battles, yet he seemed cautious now. "You are not like other humans," he said slowly. "You carry something hidden, something the system cannot measure." Elena tilted her head. "It is called survival," she said. "We have a history you cannot imagine. Every planet, every war, every disaster, our ancestors endured. They learned to adapt, to fight when weaker, to rise when broken." The predators were silent. Some lowered their heads in respect. Some clicked their jaws nervously. They realized something dangerous. Humans did not fight like other species. Humans fought to continue, to survive, to grow stronger from the fight, not just win it. Commander Varkesh stood slowly, his armor groaning. He looked at Elena with something between fear and awe. "This is impossible," he muttered. "We record everything about combatants. Yet your file, it has nothing. You should not exist." Elena took a slow step forward. Her voice was steady, almost soft. "I exist because I have to, because my species has to. The galaxy always underestimates us. They see us as small, fragile, weak. But we endure. And endurance is not weakness. It is power." The veteran predator nodded slowly. "Then your species, perhaps we have been blind," he said. "We measured only what we could see. Strength, teeth, claws, armor. But we did not measure will, not endurance, not cunning, not fear that becomes fuel." The predators glanced at each other uneasy. Commander Varkesh realized the truth he had been avoiding. Humanity was unpredictable. It could not be ranked. It could not be classified. It had survived impossible odds. And now, it had survived predators in their own arena. The system flickered again. Red lights turned to blue. The energy barriers dropped. The arena opened. Yet the predators did not attack. Not one of them. Elena raised her hand. I do not fight for glory, I fight to live, and now that I have one I will leave peacefully. The predator stepped back, giving her space. Commander Varkesh took a deep breath. He realized something crucial. This human girl was not a mistake. She was a warning that humans, when pushed to the edge, were something the galaxy had never accounted for, something the predators had never experienced, something that could never be measured in data files or combat rankings. Elena's eyes met Varkesh's. She did not speak, but the message was clear. We endure, we adapt, we survive, and when the universe forgets that, we remind it. For the first time, the instructor understood. Humanity's hidden record, the battles survived, the wars endured, the disasters survived, was more dangerous than any predator's strength, more cunning than any elite warrior's strategy, and more unpredictable than any combat algorithm. And the Academy, the galaxy, even the predators themselves, they had only scratched the surface. Elena turned and walked toward the exit, her steps steady. Behind her, predators watched. Not as hunters, not as enemies, but as witnesses. Witnesses to something the galaxy had ignored for far too long. The quiet, relentless, unmeasured, unstoppable power of humanity. Commander Varkesh whispered to himself almost too softly to hear. The galaxy underestimated humans, and it almost died for it. The arena doors sealed behind her. And something had changed. The doors of the arena had sealed behind Elena, but the silence that followed was louder than any roar. Commander Varkesh stood frozen, staring at the empty center line where the human girl had stood only moments before. The predators around him were still, their breathing slow, their eyes wide. None of them moved. No one spoke. The combat system blinked silently, scanning, calculating, failing to assign a value to what had happened. Red, yellow, green. None of the usual alerts applied. The system had no category. It could not measure her. She was unclassifiable. Varkesh felt the weight of it press down on him. He had led the deadliest drills in the galaxy. He had trained monsters to hunt monsters. And yet, a single human had walked into his arena and forced him to reconsider everything he thought he knew. The predators began to whisper quietly among themselves. The tall feline clicked its teeth softly. The insectoid made a low, chittering sound. Even the veteran predator, the one who had stood before her, seemed unsettled. They had all felt it. The shift in the air, the moment when fear became respect and respect became awe. Humans, the veteran predator muttered finally, almost to himself. We measured strength, teeth, claws, speed, strategy, but we never measured will. Veshk, Commander Varkesh, took a deep breath. His armor creaked as he leaned on the control panel. He could feel his own uncertainty. For decades he had relied on systems, on calculations, on rankings. But that human girl had shown him something that no system could ever teach, something the galaxy had forgotten. Will, Veshk said slowly, his voice shaking. Endurance, adaptation, intelligence born of survival, humanity. He let the words linger. We never counted it as strength, but it is. The predator's eyes turned toward him. Some nodded. Some lowered their claws. For the first time, they acknowledged a truth they had refused to see. A human could not be measured by the same standards as a predator. Not because they were weak, but because they were something entirely different. Something dangerous in a way the galaxy had never understood. Veshk opened the main console. His fingers hovered over the override panel, then pressed a few buttons. He paused before sending the command. The hall was quiet, tense. Every predator and every sensor watched him. He typed in a new classification. It had no category in the system, no pre-existing rules, no warnings. Human unclassified combat anomaly. The words flashed across the main display. Energy pulsed along the arena walls as the system struggled to store the new data. A murmur went through the predators. Some made low growls, others clicked their mandibles. This label was more than a title. It was recognition, a warning, a challenge. Veshk exhaled. "This changes everything," he said. "Not just for the Academy, not just for the Predators, for the galaxy itself." He turned his gaze toward the doors, now silent, the hallway beyond dark and still. Elena had left, but her presence lingered. Every Predator in the room felt it, the memory of her calm, precise, unbroken movements, the knowledge that even without claws or armor, a human could survive anything. "Let them watch," said the veteran Predator finally. "Let them learn. The galaxy should not forget this lesson." And in that moment, a new understanding was born. Humanity had a name the galaxy could not ignore. They were no longer just prey, no longer just weak creatures to be pitied or underestimated. They were something more, unpredictable, unmeasured, unstoppable. Commander Veshk sank onto a bench, rubbing his tired eyes. The hum of the arena was different now, quieter, respectful, almost reverent. He thought of Elena's words, her calm determination, her laughter in the face of pain. He thought of the Predators who had almost killed her and now would carry her story through every rank, every world. Humans had been underestimated for too long, but now they had a name, unclassified combat anomaly. It was not just a label, it was a promise. The galaxy would remember. Elena walked through the empty hallways of the Academy alone. Her shoulder still ached, her blood still warm, but she walked with a light step. Behind her, the Predators did not follow. They watched from a distance, silently, with a mix of fear, respect, and awe. Somewhere far across the galaxy, the records of every species would update, but some things could never be measured. Willpower, endurance, courage in the face of impossible odds. And humanity. Humanity had all of it in abundance. The stars outside the Academy gleamed cold and distant, but one small human girl had already made them tremble. And the galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.